It's the Scotty Myers Show.
Hey, how's it going this week? Welcome to the show. Hopefully, you're having a fantastic week. I'm obviously your host, Scotty Myers. It has been a very eventful week for me since I last spoke to you. Let's see. I told you we were putting the house on the market to sell, and it sold really quickly. Like, we basically had it up one day, and a couple days later, we had multiple offers, and it just... I've heard friends of mine that have gone through the home selling process, and it's been a nightmare for them. This, super easy. It was like we lubed it up, and it slid right in. That's how easy it was. And so now we're, going through. We have to have the inspection and all that kind of stuff, but the wheels are moving, and it's moving at Ferrari-like speed. As here we are, mid-August, and we're basically going to be out of the house and into our new home basically within less than a month. So crazy quickly, but we struck while the iron was hot. It's at least here where I live in Halifax, Nova Scotia, very much a seller's market right now. So things are just getting scooped up. And I don't know if all these people that are buying houses really know the headache that home ownership can be, to be totally honest. A lot of people, when I told them we were selling, were kind of shocked. They were like, why, you're selling your house? And it's like, yeah, do you realize the headaches of owning a home? You know, it's a pain in the butt. It's great. There are lots of benefits to it. There's also lots of headaches that go along with it. So, kind of shedding those headaches for a little while. The way I describe it to people all the time, feel free to steal this if you would like. If something breaks when you own the home, it's your problem. Something breaks when you don't own the home, it's a problem. It's just not your problem. You make a phone call and it's somebody else's problem. My off story this week is a little bit connected to us selling the house. So I'll get into that part of the story a little later on the show. But I also wanted to fill you in on some other stuff that's been going on. Namely, you're getting a little older. I'll be 43 in January, which is kind of mind-numbing to me. But that's the age I'm hitting. And as you start to get older, you start to kind of develop these, health issues that you never had before. Things that just never popped up in their 20s. Obviously, there's the ones that we all know about, like things start creaking a little bit more, like as far as your bones and joints go, and it hurts to get a little bit out of bed after you've maybe worked out too hard or had even less alcohol than you used to consume. And then the next morning comes and you're crying for death to come and release you from the terrible mistake you made the night before. We're just not as wired for speed as we were when we were younger. And these little new health problems kick up. And I've had one this week that never had before in my life. And I'll tell you, you don't want it. If you've never had a hemorrhoid, count yourself lucky. Honestly, it's not a massive health issue. It can become one if you don't treat it right away. But it's one of those things, it affects so much that you take for granted. Like sitting suddenly becomes uncomfortable. It's just like just sitting there watching TV and your butt just don't feel right. Feels like something's bothering your butt the whole time. And you just kind of want to get up and swat it away, but you can't because it's stuck there. It ain't going anywhere. So I've kind of been dealing with that the last week. It's finally starting to get better. It's still not gone. It's still there, but I've been treating it, medicated wipes, lots of preparation H. And having never had this before, it has led to some embarrassing situations. And I'll pass this knowledge on to you so that maybe you don't have to go through the embarrassing situations that I did. First off, there are lots of choices when it comes to preparation H. You can get cream, you can get ointment. There's a few other variations, and I didn't know what the best one was. I knew I wanted the best one because I wanted to clear this thing up as quickly as I could. So I had to go ask the pharmacist, and I said, which is best to get? And apparently it's the ointment. The cream, I guess, rubs off too easy, so it doesn't have as much chance to get soaked into the hemorrhoid and really do its work. So the ointment, although it's a little thicker and greasier, will definitely do the job better. So if you've got a hemorrhoid or you develop one, grab the ointment. That's what the pharmacist told me. Now, they also sell wipes to help soothe the irritation. Highly recommend those. They do a fantastic job of soothing the irritation and getting a little extra medication on it as well. So not a bad idea to grab the wipes. But after I went up to the counter and asked this girl that was the pharmacist what was the better cream, as I'm walking away, I'm like, she's totally picturing my ass right now with this giant hemorrhoid in it. There's no way you ask somebody something butt related and they instantly don't start trying to picture in their mind how bad your butt is off. It's human nature. So as I was walking to the cash, I was like, yeah. But it was a little embarrassing. Now, the second embarrassing thing that I encountered with the hemorrhoid was because I chose the ointment. So after a couple days, I was doing a lot of research, and it said that you could still work out. You could still go to the gym. Just don't strain yourself too hard, because that's partly how you create the hemorrhoid, is by too much straining. And, just take it easy, but you can definitely work out. And, if you listen to this podcast, that's kind of one of my happy places, is to go to the gym and clear my head a bit. So I went, and two words of advice. One, spin class, way harder with a hemorrhoid. It's hard to get properly situated on the spin bike and comfortable, and then still be able to do the spin correctly, the pedaling correctly. I got through it, but easily the most uncomfortable 45 plus minutes that I've had in a long, long time. And then the second thing was, I put on a lot of the ointment in the morning before I went to the gym, trying to treat this bad boy and get rid of it. And I'm sitting there and I'm doing some chest presses, incline chest press. And I get up off the incline bench and I notice there's a little mark on the seat, like a greasy mark. And I'm like, oh, so I ran to the bathroom. The ointment, the greasiness of it had kind of soaked through my underwear and my shorts. And this was early on in my workout. So the whole workout, I'm walking around the gym looking like I shit myself. There was a literal streak right in my ass crack, like couldn't hide it. And I'm wearing gray shorts, kind of a light gray, and it's a dark streak. So it looks like I shit myself and then tried to wipe it off, is kind of how it looked. And especially when you're not lifting that much weight, people are going, how did the guy shit himself with that little amount of weight? But it's just not a good look. So my recommendation, like when I go to the gym again later, I'm still treating the hemorrhoid. I'm going to wait till post-workout to put the ointment on so that I'm not looking around like I should have been working out in Depends. Just a couple of little tidbits that you can take with you going forward if you ever encounter a hemorrhoid, and odds are you will, because it's like 3 in 4 people will have a hemorrhoid. So just write those down for when you need them. The more you know. On to the off story of the week. And as I said, this one kind of has to do with the fallout of me selling my house. So it wasn't a headline or anything that made me say offs. It's human behavior that has made me say offs. The human behavior being, we now live in this age where everybody basically has a store, right? With Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace and all these things online where you can put up your wares and sell them, or put up a house for sale or for rent or anything like that. Now, as soon as you post something and you put it up on Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace, whatever, you have now entered into the world of customer service. You've entered into the world where people are trying to buy your good or service, and you have to answer their questions in a timely manner. I understand it's not your full-time job. But if you put something up, especially if you put up on the post urgent, you should want to reply to this person in a timely manner. I am shocked and bewildered at the number of people that have put things up on these online marketplaces and never fucking return an email, a phone call. And I'm actually going to expand this from the online marketplaces. There are some companies that are bad like this. I've left multiple messages with people before, never hearing back from them. Never hearing back. Months go by, never hearing back from them. And I just said, how do you stay in business if you never talk to your customers? It just, that's step one of business. Talk to customers. I've worked in retail jobs. You know what you do? Talk to the customers. Try and help them. Answer any questions they might have. Try to sell them your shit. And if you're trying to sell your own personal shit, you might want to answer some fucking emails. But it's amazing how many people put up these ads and then that's it. They leave them there for weeks, months, years. And then eventually they write back to people going, oh yeah, that I sold that like 6 months ago. Well, your fucking ad is still up, numbnuts. Take it down. So I'm just shocked. So again, I'm just here. This show is like a public service announcement. It's a lot of how to make the world a bit better. So all I'm saying is, if you are going to put something for sale online, take it down if you sell it. And if people write you questions, try to respond in a timely manner. I'm not saying you have to walk around permanently staring at your phone looking for, questions and queries about whatever you're selling. But check it occasionally and answer people. It's just common courtesy, and it will stop people like me from sitting around and screaming offs. Before we get into the geek news of the week, there's lots of people in the States right now vying to be even just the next candidate to run for the president of the United States. The election just over a year away. And we thought everybody that was going to run had entered. And turns out that was not the case. Thanks to these new political ads that I came across, there's a couple of new candidates, and I think each of them makes a very strong case. Let us introduce our new Washington Outsider candidate.
Attention, citizens! I, Cobra Commander, have returned.
Cobra Commander doesn't take money from Wall Street. In fact, no one knows where he gets his money. But who cares? He has a plan to move America forward.
I am pleased to announce Cobra's economic recovery plan. We have begun by eliminating the worthless green paper, which your government has deceived you into believing is valuable.
Now that is forward thinking. When asked what he thought of the current economic system, Cobra Commander had a clear view.
We've been suckered due to the financial irresponsibility and incompetence of your leaders. Cobra has found it necessary to restructure your nation's economy.
And when asked about his opponents, he had tough words.
Your plan is laughable!
Cobra Commander gives us hope for the future.
Cobra will come to your rescue, and out of the ashes will arise a new order!
So make sure to vote for a man that has experience as a leader, experience as a commander, and a solid economic plan. Vote Cobra Commander.
By tomorrow, the United States shall be ours!
And if he didn't speak to you, maybe this candidate will. Tough times have hit America. It's time we rallied around a man that has experience fighting the hard battles and experience fighting a man with a bad haircut. It's time to support Skeletor.
Now we're playing in my dimension, and I make all the rules.
His foreign policy is flawless.
Tonight, once I duplicate an army of my cohorts, I will be the ruler of all Eternia.
Some have asked how a man with no skin can possibly have an understanding of issues like healthcare. Skeletor has an easy, cost-affordable plan that will bring healthcare to everyone.
You You just hypnotized yourself. Now you will do whatever I tell you to.
He has a plan to restore the broken economy.
Honest men do an honest day's work, or I destroy their village.
Skeletor is a man with a solid plan and a magical staff. He will stand up to other world leaders as well as politicians here at home. Skeletor will take on Congress to get things done.
Why do I surround myself with fools? Even the robots are smarter than you.
He won't mince words when it comes to Democrats.
Dolts, half-wits, bunglers, brainless idiots.
And he'll put Donald Trump in his place.
Silence, you furry fool. I've had it with your whining and bumbling. You're finished here, do you understand?
Everyone claims they're looking for honesty in this election, and you can't get more honest than Skeletor.
Listen, I am not nice, I am not kind, and I am not wonderful.
He can't fool you with a slick poker face. He doesn't have one. So when you head to the polls, make sure you vote for the one man that can really make a difference.
Skeletor has come for you.
On to the geek news of the week, and now that we're into the fallout from San Diego Comic-Con, the geek news has slowed down a little bit, but we're still getting a fair amount that we can share with you. If you are a fan of the animated show Star Wars Resistance that debuted last fall, well, it's not going to be around much longer. Apparently, the Star Wars Resistance show will be wrapping up after season 2. So not a long run for this one. But with Disney Plus set to debut in November, people kind of had a feeling that it wasn't being carried over since it was never mentioned. Season 2 is going to pick up the story with the heroes narrowly escaping the First Order at the end of the first season. And we're also going to see Kylo Ren in season 2 and a few other really, really cool things. So if you're a fan of Star Wars Resistance or you haven't watched it yet, it is canon. So if you want to know the entire Star Wars story, you should check out Resistance. And it's an easy one to catch up on. Only one season so far, and then wrapping up with season 2. Switching over to Star Trek, with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood being released, director Quentin Tarantino is now free to work on what may be his next project, and that could be the Star Trek movie that he has said that he wants to make. And during press for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, a couple of the stars, Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie, were asked if they would join Starfleet under a Quentin Tarantino directed film, and they both were very enthusiastic, saying, hell yeah. Basically, they both said, I would do anything that Tarantino wants to do. And I'm sitting there going, both of them would be fantastic in a Star Trek movie. Now, I don't know what group Tarantino is going to take on. I don't know if he's going to continue on with a Captain Kirk, Spock story. Is he going in his own direction? Is he going back to Captain Pike? Who knows? I could see Brad Pitt as Captain Pike. I definitely could see that. And I mean, Margot Robbie, anybody that knows me knows she can play anything. So that would definitely up my interest in the Tarantino Star Trek movie if Margot Robbie was in there. Those Starfleet uniforms are tight. What can I say? Anyway, so maybe we can look forward to Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie being in Quentin Tarantino's R-rated. Don't forget that. Tarantino has said it is an R-rated Star Trek movie. Now, after Disney bought Fox, there were a bunch of movies in development that we've heard bits and pieces about, and some of them flat out canceled. Some of them have just seemed to drop off the face of the earth. Ones like McClane, the Die Hard sequel / prequel, that one seems to have just dropped off the face of the earth. One that hasn't totally disappeared is New Mutants, kind of the horror take on the X-Men franchise. It was supposed to be released in spring 2019. That has been delayed. Right now, it's looking to be released April 2020. They're doing some reshoots right now. But Variety is reporting that the heads at Disney, not too keen on New Mutants. They're not really feeling the haunted house motif that this film reportedly has. Now, a lot of people, when they see the trailers that have been released so far, are super impressed with it and think it's a nice new take on kind of the X-Men story, and obviously different characters. But Disney, I think they're probably seeing it as very dark for the X-Men and what they want to do with the Marvel superheroes. So as it stands right now, New Mutants still looking for an April release next year, but how big a release that will be, I'm starting to think it might be a very small one with minimal publicity if Disney is not that into it. And switching over to DC, just a couple of small little tidbits of DC movie news that has come along. One is Sean Gunn, the brother of James Gunn, writer, director of Guardians of the Galaxy. He was doing a little interview recently and was talking about the Suicide Squad, the movie that James Gunn is working on. And he said he has read the script and said that it's really, really good and that James is pretty jazzed about it. And they're going to start shooting soon. Now, it is his brother. You don't expect him to go, oh, I read the Suicide Squad script and it is absolute shit. But it is encouraging to see that not only does he think it's a good script, but that James is really excited to get shooting. And rumor is that this movie could start shooting pretty much any time now. Like really, they could start rolling the cameras tomorrow. That's kind of how the rumors are talking. So hopefully that's the case in Suicide Squad. It's not 2, but the soft sequel pseudo reboot of Suicide Squad is as good as all early indications are, and as good as what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy. That will wrap it up for this week. Again, don't forget to check us out on our social media pages at The Scotty Myers Show on Instagram and on Facebook, at Scotty Myers on Twitter. I say it every week, but I mean it. If you guys have questions, comments, anything like that, I love hearing from you. I love having little chats about the show, so feel free to reach out to me there. Also, feel free to subscribe, give us a review, a rating. It really helps move us up on those front pages, which will grow the show. So all those little ratings and reviews help big time. Until we chat again, have a great week.